So today I have Frank Rudiewicz, who is principal and counsel of Clifton Larson Allen. And what they do is valuation, litigation, forensics, and investigation. That's the new thing, right, Frank?
That's it.
So congratulations on the new gig. I'm sure you're super busy, but I wanted to bring you on because I know you do a lot of things with the dark web and forensics and computers, and really do a lot of things to support guys like me in white collar crime in terms of helping us investigate what's going on with companies.
Yeah, and you're one of our biggest sources of engagements, and it's about really we're an information firm. We get information. You need information, whether that comes from interviewing people, finding people, forensic accounting through the books, computer forensics, finding it through the dark web, gathering that info to turn it over to the litigators like yourself.
Right. So I know also not only do you help out people when they're being charged with a white collar crime, but you also get engaged by a corporation in terms of when they think that someone in their own corporation is doing something, essentially a wrongdoing in the company.
Oh, absolutely. So part of our practice is we have a white collar defense practice where on the larger engagements, it will be where a company has been accused by the government of some type of financial wrongdoing or some type of ethical and compliance issue. We will come in as a part of the defense team with their counsel to be their investigators. Go through the books, contradict what maybe the government is alleging, or at least showing other explanations of what the government's alleging, and finding those types of information that's going to help.
I mean, for us, the two major areas is one, obviously, we don't want them to have any wrongdoing, but when there is, certainly the amount of loss is something that's super important. And experts like you definitely help us a long way in terms of what ultimately the potential sentences in these very serious charges can be.
Well, it's twofold. Absolutely, it's calculating the loss for recovery reasons for the corporation and entity, or on the defense side, it's calculating the loss to reduce the sentencing guidelines because of the amount of the loss.
Right. Right.
On federal cases.
So I know that in terms of a case study, I know you had some information or a story regarding the Clark Rockefeller story that many years ago when there was essentially a simple individual that was not a Rockefeller at all. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. That is a case that keeps on giving and living. Clark Rockefeller was an individual living here in Massachusetts that was married and had a child, going through a divorce, and we were retained by the spouse, the wife, to do a background investigation, actually an asset investigation, because before there was a settlement, she wanted to know if there was some money hidden. It quickly turned to a background investigation, and because we couldn't find anything, and my report to the probate court, because there was child custody involved, basically said, we don't know who this individual is, but he is not Clark Rockefeller. The case was settled. Fast forward, he on his first supervised home visit, he kidnapped his child.
Right.
Big manhunt throughout the country. They found him, and as we unraveled everything, it turned out that he is this poster child scam artist that for 20 plus years, he had 4 different personas around the country, all geared towards capitalizing on high net worth individuals and scamming them. He's now in jail. He was convicted, but he's now in jail in California for a murder that was solved once his name came through.
So I guess I got two. Yeah.
I'd love to talk about him because he's the epitome of a high net worth individual that was just everybody had questions on,
Right.
but it really showed that the more money people think you have, the less questions they ask.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, those are the two follow-up things I have. I remember also that the wife was actually seeing a lot of liability. For a short period of time, they were investigating her, and they were really questioning her to say, how do you not know? And it's good that they engaged with you early, that she engaged with you early to really exonerate her, in the eyes of a lot of law enforcement. They're questioning her, and it's like, you must have known. You have a kid with him. You've been with him so long. How do you not know that he's not a Rockefeller? And I remember her testifying in court, and she came across so genuine. But it's so obviously scary for these individuals being lumped together with someone who's essentially a murderer.
Well, in white collar cases and many fraud cases, the individual that's the fraudster gets away with it because they ingratiate themselves into this trusted circle, educating. Clark Rockefeller is a good example. He had a very high intelligence. He had a small circle of friends that were all really good people, very intelligent. And some of them had questions about Clark, just as the wife did. But as they were questioning, they're saying, well, but he's a good friend of Jason Chan, so he must be a good guy. And and that's how he was able to exploit everyone, because they all then stopped questioning because he was friends with another person that was trusted.
Right. And I know another role that you do play too is when someone has wrongdoing, and not only does the person get charged, but a lot of times the corporation also gets charged. And obviously the corporation can't go to jail, but they can actually be on probation. And that's when we bring in a lot of experts like you to say, no, it's really to this one individual. This is what happened. It's really a one-off type of situation. But without real hard evidence to kind of back that up, that is a tough thing to sell without guys like you around.
Well, thanks. And one of the simplistic objective when we have a corporate white collar defense case where there's executives and individuals also being charged is the simple objective from our percentage is to find enough information so that the government will back off of the individuals, find the company and make the company go through some changes. They get a conviction. No one goes to jail from the personal side, and everybody's happy.
So, Frank, if you would just spend a couple minutes to talk about CLA, your role there, when people should be engaging with you guys. I have your contact information up, obviously, but it'd be great to say, when should people be calling this number and talking to Frank about their case?
Hey, thanks, Jason. Clifton Larson Allen is the 7th largest professional services firm in the country. We've got 7,000 employees, 140 offices. We have this special advisory services group, which is, as you mentioned, valuation, forensics, litigation, and investigation. So it's basically whenever you need information to make management decisions. If that's a valuation piece about mergers and acquisitions or transactions, if that's a forensic accounting piece or a litigation support to calculate damages, or investigation. Who did what when? How do you find somebody? Can you find out backgrounds of individuals? That's what we do. Our resources are vast. I like to say is just call us when you can't figure something out.
Right, and definitely an additional thing that we were talking about mergers and acquisitions. Without knowing the background of what you're buying and who you're buying it from, that is a bad recipe in terms of laying a foundation for a successful business in the future, right? Because everything will look good on the books. And like you said, when things look great, people don't ask questions. And we need guys like you to come in and to ask those questions, to really figure out what's going on and to value a business. Like, how else would you really know? Because you weren't there. These people aren't in the same company. That's why you're acquiring her in the first place.
It's twofold. It's knowing the numbers and the people, but it's also from the financial side of it. But it's also on the acquisition is, do you really know the people? The principals are the ones that are at the forefront, and the acquiring firm knows them. But middle management and the rising stars are the ones that really run most companies. Do you really know what they're about? Are they going to leave after this transaction? Do you do some background prior to closing the deal?
Right. Well, Frank, I can't wait to work on the next case together. Thanks for coming on. And when the next news story breaks, I hope we have you back to do some analysis for us.
Well, Jason, I always love working with you. So fantastic. Thank you so much.
Talk soon.